Hello, my name is Melissa Sombrick, and today I will be talking about power lines that are causing forest fires through sparks. Global warming is causing a lot of issues that are escalating the further ends of wildfires and are a large leading factor of why wildfires are so prevalent in California, as California does have the highest rate of wildfires in the US. Global warming increases fire risk. A leading cause of forest fires is power companies such as Southern California Edison, San Diego Gas and Electric, and Pacific Gas and Electric. PG&E is one of the largest power companies in California and has been responsible for more than 1,500 fires in the past 6 years that has killed numerous Americans. Power companies are the #1 cause of pollution in the US. In California, air pollution is mostly the result of traffic, and location matters. California's average air pollution exposure is 12.8 micrograms per cubic meter, making it the highest in the US. Fires are exposing people to devastating air pollutants. Fires produce and carry air pollutants that have devastating effects on people's physical health. So using a health impact assessment lens of California, we can see this detrimental cycle where wind circulates new pollutants from smoke or pre-existing pollutants from car emissions. And this occurs when eastern winds are carrying California's dry heat over the mountains, where trees often fall on the power lines. This creates a spark or an electrical current that ends up sparking a fire and is carried by the wind until it becomes uncontrollable, creating a convection oven-like effect as dry climate plus extreme heat and wind all circulate around these extreme air pollutants, as well as the pollutants from the fire. So fire impacts on the environment and human health. So precipitation present after the fire can cause multiple effects for the environment. For example, it can cause ash and soil erosion, where pollutants can get uprooted and carried downstream, like arsenic, mercury, and other heavy metals. This can aid also in the triggering of mudslides, landslides, debris, rocks, and even vehicles being pushed and damaged while things are falling downhill. There's also a loss of vegetation that can occur from precipitation presence after the fires. Droughts increase, water, agriculture is all lost, and there's a loss of oxygen, and air pollution is highly present. Global temperatures continue to rise as a result of these increased climate changes, and all this impacts human health and furthers environmental changes. Now, as far as the human health concerns go, this image goes ahead and compares various different parts of the world in terms of the exposure of air pollutants and that are largely preventable. And most of these air pollutant effects can also occur from these fires that are carrying various other pollutants with it. So heart attacks can occur, strokes, heart disease, congestive heart failure, lung cancer, chronic bronchitis, asthma, emphysema, scarred lung tissue, low birth weights, type 2 diabetes, pneumonia, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia, as well as neurological disorders like autism. Intervention is definitely needed, and the reason why is because there's been a lot of time where These monopolized power companies did not do what they were supposed to. They lacked in management. They had no monitoring and very few regulations. Power companies spent millions less on maintenance than they should have, and that was available in their budgets for prior decades. PG&E is currently bankrupt and in need of enormous maintenance and fire prevention backlogs. The reason why is because not only are there various fires that are destroying the lines, but it is also destroying infrastructure in the area, creating a ton of lawsuits. Energy prices continue to rise even as the power becomes less reliable, as customers are forced to pay for these damages. So to avoid the same happening to them, Southern California Edison decided just not to take on the risk and to keep the grid off. And of course, this pisses off people who are paying the highest rates in the country for the least reliability. This has also caused state and local tension to emerge as carelessness is continuing, and an immediate solution is needed as the environmental and health impacts significantly outweigh the long-term cost of inaction. So, what are the potential concerns with intervention? Well, is the problem too late to fix? Global warming is out of our control, although precautions should have been taken by power companies that were not performed. Now, this graph goes ahead and shows how the increases in climate change from the pre-existing wildfires, while simultaneously occurring with present wildfires, can dramatically increase the amount of acres being burned. However, energy companies are claiming to do everything they can to fix this problem. Now, new problems of confliction in terms of actions on what they should do are emerging. Like, should they keep the power on or off? Well, power off results in angry customers. Why should customers have to pay the highest rates in the country for the least power reliability? And power on means more fire risk and potential lawsuits. Another concern is, should they kill the vegetation around the lines? Vegetation is largely responsible for sparking the fires, and getting rid of it avoids unnecessary hazards. However, many energy companies pushed against controlled burns of vegetation because they were concerned with it being picked up by the wind. Vegetation burns can also lead to worsening of mudslides and other disasters from the soil erosion, as fewer trees are seen. So I came up with a few possible solutions that are very viable. Government bailouts, however, is a major concern that has already been taken into account and has occurred for these power companies for previous years. It does save jobs and it keeps energy options diverse. However, even with reforms and proper maintenance, monitoring is not guaranteed with this option. Increased grid worker staff does remove the hazards of sparking a fire, as vegetation will be removed and maintained regularly. However, it also provides jobs. However, the work is very dangerous, and sensors and grid hardening technologies will still be needed, which can be costly. Microgrids or community choice aggregations. Microgrids prevent shutdowns. However, the individual installations are not only very costly, but they're also very time consuming and may not be appropriate for the immediate solution that we need right now. Now, community choice aggregations, they do break up the monopolies. However, they also require that laws be passed to force power companies to distribute power, even if bought elsewhere, and power companies that have not been responsible for fires may not want to be on board with this. Burying the lines does have the best success rate. However, it also has the biggest price tag. Transforming residential zoning laws and land use policies is a very good sustainable option as it protects human health. However, it is seen as being politically bad for the economy because it does stop any further building that is occurring in these areas that are considered to be a fire hazard. And fireproofing will be still needed on the current existing infrastructure in the area, which will cost a lot of money as we cannot push people to move out of their homes. And so government bailouts or loans will still be heavily needed, even while doing this option for many years to come. Investing in grid safety technologies is likely the best solution, as it significantly reduces the risk. It may not be the best option in terms of mitigation, but for the cost efficiency, it's pretty good. The upfront cost is high, but it is likely that that will stabilize for future years to come. So fire shielding of the power lines. So here is what it looks like. Here's a diagram of what the power shielding looks like. There are various types of grid hardening devices: solar sensors, temperature, RH sensors, wind monitors, directional cellular antennas, solar panels, data logger, charge controller battery, cellular modems, and there is likely to be a stabilized cost efficiency. Now, although in 2018, when production was just starting to develop largely, there was a huge price jump from 2018 to 2019. However, now that it is already being mass produced, the advanced weather modeling tools did seem to stabilize in price and not increase from 2019 to 2020. Furthermore, researchers are predicting that this trend will continue, and so it may be a good option to go with. Risk analysis conclusions to hardening the grid as the solution. So why hardening the grid? Or what is it? Well, applying flame retardants to wires, electrical boxes, and sensors, covering wires, monitoring equipment, electromagnetic field detectors, frequency centers, algorithms, covering electrical boxes, increased and faster transmission line maintenance and inspection, tree removal and cyclical pruning, risk assessment, equipment replacement. Now, why is this the solution? Most cost efficiency for mitigation when only compared, though, to 3 different options: keeping it bare, the lines, covering them with grid hardening devices, or burying them underground, although other options have not been explored in this data analysis. As far as mitigation and adaptation goes, though, while still keeping the power companies in business, you do get the best efficiency according to Edison's risk analysis data for the cost. Now, the legal pathways to implementation may be tricky, so conventional and unconventional power companies typically operate around cost efficiency and on an immediate scale. They're not looking for a long-term solution. They want an immediate fix, and that's why they have tried the Band-Aid type fixes, which have not worked successfully for them. Government bailouts are what they have relied on. Customer base will be used to pay back loans over a long period of time is what they've been doing, but perhaps we can extend this to a greater time span so that customers currently are not being forced to pay such high rates for such unreliable electricity. Now, loan conditions should be ensuring that grid hardening equipment is up to code, maintained and monitored regularly going forward in terms of legal pathways that we need to take to solve this problem. Also require that actions are moving towards long-term solutions. Now, by having forced renewable energy support systems installed near facilities or footprint reductions being maximized by these places, because we don't want to give these energy companies any leeway to continue escalating problems that they have already dramatically increased. So this will not help to reduce the fires, but it will aid in the long-term environmental and human health goals we're trying to achieve. Now, monetary incentives should be removed. We should force them to be non-profit or require money to go back into hardening, maintaining, and monitoring the grid before it goes into the pockets of investors and executives. Breaking up the grid through CCAs by passing a law requested by energy companies like CDG&E to provide a smooth change away from energy procurement space may also be a good way to go if we could get enough of these energy companies on board with it. Increased investors through hardening of the grid and consumer appeal may also be promising for helping to pay for these technologies. Now, potential concerns are that bailouts may cause renewable energy investments to get the short end of the stick, as the government's energy budget is spending billions bailing out these power companies after each burn. Lacking oversight and high profit margins must be changed substantially for utility companies if they are to be bailed out. Concerns about huge salaries being given to these executives and record-breaking dividends to investors rather than distributing the money towards solving the problem and making it sustainable. Thank you very much for watching my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed.